Welcome, high school football fans, to Pocahontas, Iowa. This is high school game day. I'm Chandler Todd.
I'm Chris Meyer.
And I'm Dylan Peterson.
Here we are in the glorious city of Pocahontas. Tonight, we're going to watch Alta Aurelia play Pocahontas area. We also are going to review 3 matchups. Our matchups tonight are some of the best in 2019 football season. Dylan?
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so as you said, we have 3 huge matchups tonight, so let's get right into it. First up is South Central Calhoun versus Southeast Valley at Gowrie. This is one match I'd pay to see.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
When you have players such as Keegan Meyer, Josh Henkenius, and Blake McAllister, you're sure to have a tremendous high-scoring game. It's just how it goes. I predict them winning this game.
SEC has a very strong secondary unit. Last week against Carroll Kemper was marching down the field, destroying SEC. When SEC had a game-changing interception. Chase Schneider made that interception. And that's the kind of thing that makes a difference in a football game. Chandler, who do you think is going to win this game?
See, I'm going with Southeast Valley on this one. Not only are they a strong team, but 2 weeks ago, we just watched them pull out an amazing victory against Pocahontas area in a very strong battle. The team's electric. They've got a lot going for them. They've got a strong base that follows them along with them. There's not a whole lot more that could go any wrong, and that's who I'm picking.
I pick SEC.
So our next game is Manson Northwest Webster versus South Hamilton. Chris?
You know, Dylan, South Hamilton and Manson have the same record. The winner of this game, I think, is going to be a toss-up. But in the end, I choose South Hamilton.
Bloodbath.
Why do you think this is going to be bloodbath, Chandler?
Oh, gee. South Hamilton is not only are they a huge team, you can fit 2 Manson running backs into 1 left tackle at South Hamilton. That is something right there. I mean, how could things get any worse than it sounds just right there?
Well, I'm with Chandler Todd on this one. I believe it's going to be a bloodbath. From what I hear, Manson is a cheap shot, hot-headed team. Last week they had several unnecessary penalties, unsportsmanlike conduct, and a couple of late hits. This is unnecessary and cheap. One thing Manson did well, though, was their pass defense. Manson's Caden Berkeley had 3 interceptions on the night. The Indians were still too much for them, though.
That is true. Manson didn't look their best, but at the beginning of the game, they looked like they were going to put up a fight. Eventually, though,
it was strong, especially that first quarter for Manson. I mean, right out of the gate, I was just watching some of that game just a little while ago. Some of those runs right off that first horn it was optimistic for them. They were looking to go all the way. It just still wasn't enough.
Now, last but not least, the matchup most of our viewers are tuning in for. Alta Aurelia's Warriors versus the Pocahontas area Indians. This is gonna be epic.
See, I'll tell you one thing, Chris, that not only the Indians fresh off of a huge blowout against Manson Northwest Webster, 31-0. Can we talk about a blowout here? It was impeccable. The Indians fought through the entire game. I'm not quite sure where the Cougars were coming out with, especially after halftime. Their whole momentum, their whole mindset was off, and it was really discouraging to watch, but that really boosted up the confidence for the Pocahontas Indians, and that probably could show up here tonight.
I was at that game, and I would like to point out that almost all of Manson's student sections left before the end of the 4th quarter.
I agree.
That is pathetic.
And really inappropriate.
There were 6 students in that student section. I don't care if you have to get ready for your dance. You stay and you support your football team.
And as we've done this high school game day over and over again, we've noticed the loyalty between the different student sections all over the area and all over the state of Iowa. This was really discouraging, and I think that really put a damper on some of those Manson football players.
I think the strongest one who could really notice here today is actually in this hometown, Pocahontas, Iowa. The Tribe.
I agree.
The strongest student section, perhaps in Northwest Iowa, maybe even Iowa itself.
Maybe the country.
I absolutely agree.
Chandler, who do you think is going to win this game?
I'm going to have to say Pocahontas area on this one because There's no doubt about any of that stuff we've just been talking about, but see, when we think about it here, the Indians didn't have a homecoming game last year. They had a forfeit to Eagle Grove. So they are not only optimistic and they're strong about this, but they are ready for a win. They're ready for a homecoming win, and they're ready to make the Pocahontas area fans all super proud. And it's going to be a heck of a matchup, but I'm thinking Pocahontas should pull it off tonight.
Now you said Pocahontas is explosive offense, but how do you think this compares to, let's say, Alto Aurelia's exceptional defense? When we're looking at players like Levi Sleezer, Alex DeRuse, and Cade Rower with over 20 tackles total this season already, how do you think this compares to our Indians' explosive offense?
You know, I think this is going to be a great matchup, and let me tell you why. Alto Aurelia doesn't have the best offense. Their quarterback is struggling. I'll let you get into that in a second.
See, I've really noticed that, but I'm going to quick go on to Dylan's thing, and that's one of the things, their defense, that could be a really big asset for them tonight. I've noticed after watching a lot of film from the Pocahontas area, team, I've noticed that offensive line is not always there. They have strong numbers, big boys, but they're not necessarily there. And I've noticed a lot of pressure going on, especially going to the quarterback, which could be a big thing tonight for. I mean, even Cade Rower from Alto Aurelia, who's got 2 solo sacks that were really big last week. So it could be very, very interesting with the defense.
Definitely. So let's just dig into Pocahontas' offense since we're into it. Luke Crosgrove, Chandler
I love this
Whiskey,
kid.
Yes.
Cade Hendrickson, Cole Runneberg. What do you have to say about that?
Well, those 4 people are all receiving over 16 yards a reception.
Right.
Insane numbers. And everybody on this receiving core is the ability to go make plays.
I agree.
I've never seen a team with such a dynamic receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we talk about our running backs, we got Cage, we got Cole, okay? Cole will come out of the backfield and make a catch for you.
Oh,
He
yeah.
already has a touchdown to it.
Yeah.
Cage is a power horse. He will truck people like you will not believe.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look like it. He's not the biggest guy, but he's got a big old heart.
Right. I agree, and that's another thing that I compare these two offenses with. I noticed just a lot of fire going on from the Pocahontas area offense, but then I noticed, just talking about the QB from Alto Aurelia, I noticed that one stat, a 37.4 quarterback rating. That's the worst in their district, which I think, if they're not on fire tonight, especially with the quarterback moving, that could be a really big problem for them. And then a 30.8 completion rate, that is one of the worst in their district as well, Alto Aurelia's. So they've got to show up.
Trey Ehlers, and then Logan just does not compare.
Right,
Does not
I agree.
compare.
That Logan McCoy, he looks like he's got a lot of fire going for him, but something's clearly not adding up here. And Trey Ehlers, I've noticed, is finding the receivers, he's finding the plays, he's doing a heck of a good job in the back as quarterback, and it'll be an exciting game tonight.
Exactly. Trey Ehlers has a QBR of 122.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 100 points higher than Logan McCoy. Trey Ehlers' completion ratio is 52.2%.
Right.
Over half the passes are completed, and that means you can march down the field.
Right.
Now-
one of the problems I see on this list constantly is this Anthony Cryer. It looks like, I mean, not only rushing yards, it looks like he's all over the field, and that might be something we'd have to watch.
He leads the team in rushing touchdowns
Right.
with 3. Now, let's take a step back and look at Pocahontas' defense.
Yes.
Dylan, what do you have to say about that?
Well, bringing it back to Luke Crosgrove and then Thomas Malone, looking at their total tackles, 20 for Luke Crosgrove and 19 for Thomas Malone. I don't think Alto really has a chance. I mean, that just with that explosive amount of defense, what can you really expect from a game like that?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've noticed watching Pocahontas is Thomas Malone almost always gets through the line.
Right.
He's everywhere.
Right.
Well, he struggles with making a tackle, but that's okay. He gets pressure on the quarterback and makes them flush out of the pocket.
Right. That Southeast Valley game, which we watched constantly, there was a lot of problems with the tackles. But Thomas Malone, like you said, he's a powerhouse. 19 solo tackles just from the past 3 games. I mean, this man is an animal, and I think that's another one we've got to watch tonight. That could be a star player.
Fast, he puts pressure on him, and you just can't.
Exactly.
You just can't putting that out to a realistic perspective, I don't know what they're going to do. I want to see the coach's whiteboard to see how they're just going to contradict.
I agree.
And they also have, Pocahontas also has Luke Crosgrove, who has 20 solo tackles, 24 total tackles.
Yeah.
And Luke Crosgrove, he's a monster, okay? He's leading the
I just
Pocahontas
love
in
that
tackles, and he's leading in receiving yards with 192.
Speaking of those two Crossgrove powerhouses, that brings us to tonight's special guest. Luke and Joseph's mom, Mary Crossgrove, Pocahontas' town celebrity. And to many of you that watch The Arrow, better known as Mary Buck.
Off to you, Delaney.
Ready? Yep. Hello and welcome to our very special interview. Our town celebrity this week is Mary Crossgrove. How are you doing, Mary?
Great, Delaney. I'm glad to be here.
How are you feeling about tonight's matchup?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say today you were beautiful.
Thank
Not only
you.
were you beautiful, but we're not here to talk about your beauty, are we? We're here to talk about football. And I'm going to tell you something about football. We got the #1 offense, defense. Have you seen the Crossgrove boys? Kate Hendrickson's a kicker. Have you seen him? I mean, I can go on and on. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is, Mary. What does this year mean to you in the city of Pocahontas?
I think Pocahontas is a wonderful place to grow children and the sports, your volleyball.
Yes.
I haven't been there since 1980 at a volleyball game. I'm sorry.
Oh my
No,
gosh,
we can
Mary,
tell-
you need to get there.
I know. It's been 1980. It is a serve and a slice, but whatever they're called. But anyway, look at these boys right there. I'm telling you, I'm just so glad that Pocahontas is a wonderful place to grow
Yes.
a family and students.
Definitely. Well, that's it here tonight, folks.
Such words of wisdom from Mary Buck.
Wow.
Absolutely. I'm just gonna have to agree with Mary Crossgrove right off the bat here. Just based on their latest performances by the Indians, integrity just seems to be the 2019 Indian team.
Yeah.
Just the physical embodiment of integrity. They have a lot of fight and it has an explosive offense, and this is just going to turn the tide of the entire game.
I agree with you, Dylan. And I actually got to meet Mary Crossgrove before the taping of the show, and what an exciting, optimistic woman that woman is. She brings so much to the town, the smile on her face, the special appearances on the Arrow here and there. I hear she's even got her own little Snapchat story that she talks to the boys at. I mean, what an extravagant thing to have for this town. And way to pep up the football boys. I think that's absolutely amazing. And thank you, Mary Buck, for being on the show today. And thank you all for watching. I'm Chandler Todd.
I'm Chris Meyer,
And I'm Dylan Peterson.
and this has been High School Game Day.